And welcome to the House of Fandom. I'm your host, Clark, on the check-in. We are back for another fun episode, and I'm joined by my amazing co-host, starting off with Danny. What's up, Danny?
What's going on, world? How we doing today?
Awesome, awesome. And then we've got Spike with the bat signal. I like that new bat signal. Looking cool, looking sleek.
Changing
How you doing,
up.
Spike?
I'm good, brother. Welcome all the new subscribers and people watching, all our viewers.
Yes,
Welcome to the
absolutely.
house. Welcome to the house.
Awesome. And last but not least, it looks like his collection is growing behind him. So really, really cool stuff on the top shelf. You don't need an introduction because when he hits you, he's going to hit you like a freight train. Ladies and gentlemen, he's not a freight train. He's not a Hulk, but we've got ourselves a tank. Tank, what is up and how are you doing?
Doing good. Hope boys are doing good. It's ready to get into it.
Absolutely, man. And dude, we've got lots to talk about. Obviously, What If, Episode 3, Episode 4, and a ton of fandom news going on. So I'm going to just hand it off to you, Tank. What do you got in that fandom bag for us?
First, I am in the fandom bag. We got a final trailer for the final James Bond, the Daniel Craig James Bond, No Time to Die.
Nice. Go ahead and play that now.
Bond, any thug can kill. I have to know I can trust you.
Well, I understand double O's have a very short life expectancy.
You're a kite dancing in a hurricane, Mr. Bond.
Is this really what you want? Always alone?
We used to be able to get into a room with the enemy. Now they're just floating in the ether.
When her secret finds its way out, it'll be the death of you.
Oh my God. Target enough people.
Remember, people become the weapon.
Who is he?
James, you don't know what this is.
James Bond, licensed to kill, in love with Madeline Swan. I could be speaking to my own reflection. Only your skills die with your body. And life is all about leaving something behind. Isn't it?
Come on, Bond. Where the hell are you?
Okay.
If we don't do this, there will be nothing left to save.
I have to finish this. You ever flown like this?
Nope.
All right, we're back. We are back, and we are back. Tank.
Just like I said, No Time to Die trailer. I actually have not seen any of the Daniel Craig James Bonds. I think the last one I saw was maybe either one or two of the Pierce Brosnan. I don't even think I saw any of the Sean Connery or ones either. But I mean, the trailer looks good. I mean, I would have to catch up on a whole bunch of James Bond. I don't know if I have the time or desire to do that.
Tell us how you really feel, Tank, please.
I know. Ladies and gentlemen, we do not have a James Bond fan here. 007 is not on his catalog of films and Netflix.
Again, of you turning what I say around.
Oh, no. I was just merely...
At what point did I say I don't like James Bond?
Oh,
I feel
okay.
like
I
we have like
said-
to create a list of what Tank doesn't like at this point, and Clark is going to keep tabs on that. I feel like
No, I
So
wasn't saying that you didn't like it.
a
I just
li-
said it's
you-
not
Let
in
him
your
finish.
catalog.
Let him finish.
All right, I'm
You
sorry.
literally say we have a James Bond that we don't have a James Bond fan. Not being a
Explain.
fan is the definition of not liking something. Anyway, as I was stating, Spike, are you excited for this?
Yes. And I love Bond. I come from a time I'm old enough to remember when there wasn't a lot of action heroes kind of like him. I mean, if you want to call him action hero, he was smooth and fun to be and pretend to be like, for me. So, and I also enjoyed them kind of changing them up over the years. So I'm excited about this one. I thought Daniel Craig was a nice mix to add to Bond because the older Bonds didn't fight much like him. So they kind of added that new element there of surprise. He kind of reminds me of the Transporter or Jason Bourne. I'm excited for it. I like watching this movie. So yeah, this will be cool.
Danny, same question for you, and also, who is your favorite Bond?
Nice.
I mean, spot, man. We just started this broadcast. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Step up, money.
Okay, so number one, I'm very excited about this movie. Trailer looks fantastic. Couldn't be more excited about this here. It's been long overdue. It's been delayed for so long. I'm dying to see the last of the installments of the Daniel Craig series of James Bond. Having said that, he's only my number 2 James Bond of all time. I personally am a big Sean Connery fan of the character. He created it, so it's kind of hard to top the best there. But I will say, I was not a fan of all the Bonds up to Daniel Craig, with the exception of one movie with Pierce Brosnan doing the GoldenEye. That was fantastic. But I watched all the other ones as a kid, and I just didn't like them. I think that's the reason why they rebooted it, after a while. And Spike, you're right. I mean, you mentioned Jason Bourne. That is exactly who this particular James Bond reminds me of, because I think Jason Bourne was probably very big around that time when they rebooted the series. So it makes sense here. I mean, nowadays everybody's a John Wick clone. So back then, OGs remember Jason Bourne. So couldn't agree with you more, buddy.
Okay, and go last for Clark. Where does Daniel Craig go on your Bond list?
Well, definitely. I mean, Daniel Craig has done an excellent job at James Bond. He has a ruthless demeanor that I think is, was sorely missed in the latter films. Roger Moore, I thought, was a fun James Bond, but there was a lot of camp to his films, especially the one with Grace Jones, which was what was that one? What was that? Do you recall that one? With Grace Jones, Spike. What was that
Bond
one?
movie?
Yeah, that Bond movie where it was like Zorin Industries, and like it was like it had a really cool plot, but it was weird. It was crazy, but I can't remember the name of it. I can't believe I can't remember the name of it. But Duran Duran did a song on it, and the song, honestly, I've got to look it up right now. I'm actually going to the Fandom archives, and I am checking as his last Bond movie. I can't even imagine. I can't remember. A View to a Kill. That was the name of the film, right? A View to a Kill came out in 1985. It's actually a pretty cool movie, and Grace Jones plays an excellent villain assassin in this film. But if you haven't had a chance to watch these are really fun ones that were made in the 80s. One of the things that's interesting about the James Bond movies, and I know you mentioned it, Spike, as well as Danny, they changed the actor up, right? They don't necessarily reboot it because most of the source material is based on books by Ian Fleming, who created the character of James Bond. But I just think what they do is, it is like a reboot in the sense that they modernize the character and they change up the character. So it's been interesting. But I thought the Daniel Craig movies have been like real raw, ruthless, brutal in the executions and the fight scenes. So I'm excited to see his last, his last mission as Your Majesty's Secret Service, James Bond.
They've been a little
007.
darker too.
Yes,
To your point,
very
it seemed
much
to be
so.
a little darker
Very
than
much
for
so.
a Bond movie.
Yes, very
I like
much
that.
so. But originally the source material, James Bond was a ruthless, cold-blooded killer. You know what I mean? So, so let's, but I mean, he became such a hero in the 80s, and it was campy at times, when the Roger Moore era. Yes. Timothy Dalton probably came the closest to the character before Daniel Craig. He only had 2 outings. One was License to Kill. Well, actually, it was The Living Daylights and then License to Kill.
Yeah.
So, if you ever had a chance, Benicio del Toro, his Oscar-winning actor, his first role was in that James Bond movie as a villain. And he looks totally different. He looks like a kid, but he was the evil son bitch.
I'll tell you this, though. I'll say it for just a little bit to touch on what you're talking about. Timothy Dalton was cool, but I would have loved, even though he wasn't British, to see Tom Selleck as a Bond back in the day.
Interesting.
I was a huge Tom Selleck fan.
That is an interesting
tidbit. He had
tidbit.
the suave to be a really good Bond. Like I said, he just wasn't British.
Well, right. But hey, they had a Brit playing Superman, so
Roger Moore wasn't British,
Henry
right?
Cavill. Oh
Was
yeah,
Roger
Roger
Moore?
Moore was British. Yeah.
I believe he was. I wasn't sure.
Oh no, he was confirmed. The only one that wasn't British recent was Pierce Brosnan. He's Irish.
Didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, there's a fun fact. Also, a fun fact, since you love Tom Selleck, he was the original choice from George Lucas for Indiana Jones.
That would have been dope.
Yes.
Seriously.
He couldn't do it because he had a contractual agreement with CBS for Magnum PI.
So,
but
back
they
then,
definitely were going to choose him. They definitely were going to choose him.
Like back then, they were really worried with movies and stuff about like the typecasting and people not seeing the characters. They were not flexible.
No, they were not flexible at all. They definitely didn't allow outsourcing.
Yeah,
that's
seriously.
for sure.
Like now, actors can pretty much do everything. The companies work together, but back then, they didn't bend at all. It was horrible. I would have loved to see him as Indy. Even no shade to Harrison.
No doubt.
Harrison's dope. But
no doubt. Tank, question for you. I don't know if you mentioned it, but who's your favorite Bond? Have you seen any of the Bond movies other than Daniel Craig? Or have you seen Daniel Craig's James Bond at all?
No, I haven't seen Daniel Craig's James Bond. The only James Bond movies that I can remember that I've seen is one with Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan. Yeah, GoldenEye was a great one. If you saw GoldenEye, it's probably the one.
Yeah.
The video game was even better.
Yeah, dude. What do they call that? Is that like the holy grail of video? Like of all things,
first-person
a
shooters,
James Bond. Yeah, a James Bond movie would be that. But that's great, Tank. What else we got in the fandom bag?
Next item in the fandom bag is the new Candyman movie. Comes the first #1 film, directed by a black woman. Her woman's name is Nia DaCosta.
So let's talk a little bit about that. One of the things that I found very interesting about this story is one, that after all these years they were able to finally reboot Candyman, because I had heard throughout the years they were trying to reboot it, right? And of course it took Jordan Peele, right, to come in and really do it justice. Now, I've heard good things review-wise. Have you guys heard anything on it?
Yeah, mostly everything I've heard has been positive there as well too. So it's actually on my list of movies to watch. So I enjoyed the original one, so I'm curious to see what kind of differences this one might have. Yeah, Jordan Peele is fantastic.
We only have 2 more times we could say it, so just remember that, Tank and Spike.
Oh, okay, well, I get it. Yeah, you know what he means.
I see. Yeah, I remember seeing Candyman back in high school.
And keep instigating Candyman, bro. We'll see what happens tonight when you don't sleep, bro.
In the mirror for that.
When you don't sleep,
it's a little different when you're looking on your desktop.
Exactly.
Maybe we're gonna be okay.
He's talking all that BS now, but when you got to turn off the lights and you start hearing noise and shit, then what's gonna happen?
I'm actually hoping that he comes. I've been kind of lonely lately, so come on in, Candyman. Let's have a talk. Got a nice little drink. How many people you can?
A little Netflix and chill. Watch your first movie.
Chop it up. Let's chop it up.
Maybe just start killing people.
I'm gonna tell you this, boys. I'll be glad to hear your reviews. Okay, I have a very vivid imagination. I'm not a horror fan. I'm not watching it. It scared the crap out of me in high school. Just it wasn't overly gory. It was just the premise. And in like regular neighborhoods, it seemed, and he looked realistic. Jason and Freddy and all of them, it's kind of like I got to go to a camp, or Freddy was something else. You didn't see him in the hood. But Candyman's local, dude. He was in the projects and all of that stuff.
Exactly.
I can't give you that, brother.
And what's scary about it is Jordan Peele has put his brand of energy in it, and the way he's put it, like, starts off in like the Civil War days beforehand and brings it, modernizes it. It goes, undertones. So that's really just like, an interesting
Jordan
take
has
on
an
it.
interesting twist on horror in general. He knows how to make it a little more realistic and modern for you. So yeah, I try to stay away from his. Although I'm a fan, I'll support. Buy somebody else some tickets, but I can't sit through it. Nah, I'll be dreaming about that for months, bro.
Tank, you also, I'm sorry, not to cut you off. Tank, you mentioned that one of the director of Candyman, the new one, is the first female black director. Is that true?
Yeah. First film, #1 film directed by a black woman.
Oh,
well, she's the
that's
person
huge.
across the.
Kudos to her, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last director was the director of her name is Ava DuVernay, and it was Wrinkle in Time, the 2018.
Ava DuVernay.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
DuVernay, excuse me. It was a Wrinkle in Time, and it debuted in second place, not first place. So this was, obviously a first. Honestly, criminally insane that it's taken all these years for this to even happen. I don't even want to
progress on the
get
way
into that,
right,
but
boys?
whatever.
Got to count for something. Good job on her.
Yeah. What else we got in that fandom bag? Tank.
Next item is one I'm not happy about at all. Venom gets a PG-13 rated, which, how are you going to have Carnage in there and be a PG-13? How? But how do you boys feel about that?
I'm like you, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I have the same question as you. Why? Doesn't make sense because the characters we're talking about. But I would say there's a lot of politics being involved with this one here. I think it has to do with, obviously, the ongoing pandemic. Thinking of how many people will actually be able to go to the box office to actually enjoy the movie. And I think maybe also it might have to do, maybe a small amount may have to do with the reception to the Suicide Squad being rated R and not performing so well at the box office. That's my theory as well.
I agree, but it made me upset because, first of all, Woody Harrelson was born as a rated R person, man. You can't put him in a PG-13. Let's just put that out there. But secondly, to your point, Danny, you've mentioned you don't think that this is going to be good. You're skeptical. In the past, we've talked about it. And now I feel that way because I feel like if it had a chance, it would have been at rated R. I feel like this final cut to make it PG-13, whatever they're going to do to try to entice more people to come out to see it. And, being worried about the pandemic, worried about the R rating stopping the families and the kids from coming, which I don't see that many kids being excited about Venom anyway, or Carnage. I feel like they just tanked the movie personally. I don't think it's going to do well now. And now it's taken away some of my excitement. Like, I may not even go to the theater to see it at this point, to be honest with you. It was super disappointing to hear that.
Well, maybe it has something to do with Spider-Man as well, too. I mean, considering Spider-Man's never going to be a rated R movie, let's be honest.
He's not a rated R character, though. It's not necessary.
Right. But that Venom and Carnage are enemies of Spider-Man. I mean, if Sony ever has dreams of doing a Marvel crossover with their superhero, they're going to have to tone down their villains in order for it to work within the genre that Spider-Man's working in.
I get that, but I'll say this quickly before because I'm stepping on Clark here. You could take any of those villains. I mean, you could take Kingpin and match him up with somebody else that's another villain from Spider-Man, and it technically be a rated R movie. Spider-Man is what makes the movies less than rated R because he's a kid in most of the movies, but he has a bunch of jokes and quirks and little things to kind of lighten up what you're dealing with. When you take him out as the common denominator, you got pure evil, okay, on multiple scales. So you don't need it to be PG-13 if you got Venom and Carnage, bro. Carnage,
I hear you.
Venom maybe, but Carnage, come on, man.
I'm agreeing with. I want it raw. I want it exactly how they're supposed to be from the pages there. But at the end of the day, Hollywood is just not going to make those kind of gambles. They're not going to do that.
Sony.
Unfortunately, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think. I mean, again, I think kind of WB is kind of shooting themselves in the foot because the Suicide Squad could have been PG-13 and possibly been a little bit more successful. So it all depends. You get those rare ones when you got movies like Deadpool and Logan that work with it, but the majority of the superhero genre is always PG-13. Let's be honest.
You're right. I can see it. Clark?
Well, I have to say I agree with you, Danny, with regards to the second reason you gave with regards to dollars and cents and box office. I think at the end of the day, they want to capitalize and get as many people to watch it, especially if it's going to be, it's a theatrical release. You limit the anyone that's under 17 years old to a comic book film. While yes, if the comic book was definitely graphic with Venom, but let's be honest here, Venom, the first one, was PG-13 and made almost $1 billion. And that was over horrific reviews. And it still made $800 million. It was a huge success for Sony. While we could debate another time the whole merits of the artistic piece of it and the characters and the way they did it. But the fact is, people wanted to see it. And a big reason for that was because it was PG-13. So that's my reasoning. I believe it has to do with dollars and cents. The second part with Suicide Squad is I don't think anything could have changed the outcome of the Suicide Squad, because the issue I think people had with the Suicide Squad, which is the James Gunn version, was it was just a big turd. It just wasn't cohesive, and a lot of people just didn't like it. I mean, there were people that liked it, and there were people that enjoyed it, but a majority, and I'm not even talking about Rotten Tomatoes. I'm talking about actual audience reactions. So that's just my 2 cents.
All right. You're wrong, but whatever. Moving on. That movie was awesome. I'm sorry. I
loved it.
The thing is, HBO
I didn't
Max,
say I didn't put my personal opinion on it. I simply put the facts. It's a bomb. It's going to lose $100 million It's going to lose $100 million for the studio.
It is a bomb,
and it's a dollars and cents. They're the
numbers.
The
don't
movie
lie.
making company
don't lie.
is there to make money.
Let me ask you this real quick before we go back to Tank. Okay, you just brought up an interesting point because you're big on the money and how they do in the box office. With DVDs not being here, but we do have streaming, is there such thing as cult classics or fan classics? Because Sylvester Stallone is not, for years, hasn't really been huge in the box office, but he made a ton of money on the back end for the studios because people love his movies, like to buy them. They would buy the DVDs or cassette tapes back in the day. His movies are always watched when they run on cable. Like, that's why he was always a big star. He talked about that years ago on Howard Stern, because compared to other action stars, he didn't blow out the box office with a lot of his movies. Today, the streaming count towards that, do you think? Like for some of these movies, like a Suicide Squad, or ones that may not do as well in the box office, do they still pick up on the back end?
Well, you still get the stream. Listen, the revenue's always been like, it's grown over the years, but I do a lot of research when it comes to financials. So just to give you guys my credentials, I go way into like the box office, the financials, how much the budget is, how much the marketing is. And just to give you an example of that, Sylvester Stallone has always been a big name, and he's been a huge box office star in the 80s, as you mentioned. He had a low in the 90s and such. But you're absolutely right. The other streaming revenues do help. Example, Blade Runner, Tron. They were originally Dune. Flops at the box office, but they got the life over the years through cable. Another example, do you know that the Shawshank Redemption, one of the greatest movies ever seen. If you boys have not seen it, you need to see it.
Love it. It's
amazing movie. A huge bomb. At the box office.
Yep.
This movie generates 25 to 50 million a year now in revenue. They said that it's over $500 million in the black because it's just been so beloved, and it's shown in all kinds of streaming and purchasing and everything else. I think Suicide Squad, will get money back. I'm not saying like there's money to be made, but it's going to be a very long time. And here's the thing. Because of the pandemic and because they released it on HBO Max as well, they kind of it's like one of those things where you kind of get away with it because you know what? Oh, we didn't fully release it, as a full theatrical. So they but the problem is that it's not even like making close to 60 million, and other movies like The Jungle Cruise and the other films that came out,
That's
like
The
A Quiet.
Rock,
Okay, all right. Well, let's talk about The Quiet Place.
Okay.
150 million domestically, another close to 200 worldwide, over 357 million with counting overseas and theatrical, not even streaming yet. And you ready for this? This is a big one here. In the pandemic era, it was only released 2 weeks before Suicide Squad, or 2 or 3 weeks before.
Yeah, but more people were allowed. I mean, I don't want to get into too much of it. But more people were allowed to go out to the theaters, and things were looking on the upswing.
2 weeks. Come on. I mean, like,
listen,
2 or 3
we got
weeks
news of this thing called Delta over here.
All
like,
right. Well,
around
I
that
agree
time.
that has a part of it too, but I also believe that HBO hindered the marketability by giving it an R rating and having it released simultaneously on HBO Max, where it was free. Those kids that would have watched that kind of juvenile movie couldn't go because guess what? They were iced out because it was an R-rated film.
They low key saw it.
They see it at home.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
They saw it at
Watch
home.
it at
They're
home.
like,
Well, right.
even-
No. I'm saying, but to go into the theater and pay,
Yeah,
they weren't
no.
able to do that by themselves. So,
I
but
mean,
of
that's a
course,
challenge
last
for
but
you
not
all.
least, Tank. What do you got?
Cool. Thanks. I wasn't talking.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't. I apologize.
Oh, cool.
Danny, I seriously did not hear you. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, that's making a final point on this here is simply that your comparison to The Quiet Place, which I love those movies. I own both of them. So, but I can tell you right now, the big difference here is that was coming off a successful first movie, followed by a second movie. So it's a built-in fan base. The Suicide Squad was coming off of a absolute flop of a first movie.
Made
Trying to do
$800 million at the box
No.
office. Wasn't
Money
a flop.
doesn't
Right.
equate to
Right.
good.
It was critically and audiensely rejected. I get that. But it made a lot of money. When you say
problem with-
flop, it makes it
It is
seem
a
like
flop.
it didn't do well.
Listen, at the end.
Well, it wasn't my.
people-
Tell that to Warner Brothers, who
anytime-
said,
Yeah,
"You'll give
but
us
you know
half
what?
of that, we'll be happy."
That's the problem with Warner Brothers and all these big studios here. They see the numbers and say, "Oh, we got away with one. Let's do a sequel."
Well, no, I
And
understand that.
The thing about the audience is that the audience does not have a short memory and forget they got screwed out of their money the first time. So naturally, they're not going to support it the second time. And ironically,
I
they
agree
would
with
be
you.
correct not to go and do it. But in this case here, I feel like the Suicide Squad is being personally blasted for the errors of the first movie. Because I was going to say a while ago, when we got into this conversation, I'm going to leave it at this here. HBO Max gives you a 30-day window to watch the movie on their streaming service before they pull it and then bring
Right.
it back a couple months later.
Right.
I've watched this movie probably a half a dozen times, and I cannot tell you that it gets better for me every time I watch it.
Not for
It really
me.
does. It really
It's
does.
a terrible movie. It's a terrible movie, in my humble opinion.
Your humble opinion was 3.5 stars for the first one and half a star for this one. I
didn't say
agree
3.5
disagree.
star. I did not say 3.5 stars for the
you
first
did.
one.
Yeah,
Never
you
did.
did.
You
You
did.
did.
Roll back
Yes,
the
you
tape.
did.
Roll back the tape.
Good,
Roll
we
back
don't
the
need
tape.
to. 3 of the 4 of us
All
already
right.
said.
Well, let's go to the person that has obviously loves the Suicide Squad. Ladies and gentlemen, Tank, what are your thoughts on all this arguing back and forth with regards to this
Spit facts, bro. That's all I do. I spit facts. I don't have arguments.
this film?
I mean, it's like Danny said. I mean, yes, the Quiet Place might have came out 2-3 weeks, but that was before the Delta variant became more prevalent. It was still out there, but that was before Delta variant came more out there. Like I said before, I'm one of us who went to the movies multiple times before that, and I saw the difference. Like I saw the difference in how it slowly got more and more people. Then right before Suicide Squad, I can't remember what movie I saw before it. It slowed down to where because people are like people got scared about the Delta variant. And I'm saying like it was a great movie. I don't care about numbers. I don't care how good a movie does. A lot of movies, you give me crap for this all the time. A lot of movies I like did not do well in the theaters.
Mhm.
I don't care.
Mhm.
Money does not equate to how good a movie is.
No, I
So
agree.
just because a movie did bad in the theater, pre-COVID, after COVID, does not mean it's a terrible movie. That just has to do with a lot of factors. It has to do with the marketing. Yes, yes. I'll say
Huge.
with Suicide Squad. Yes, the first one, it tainted it. I would say it definitely tainted it. I would say the rated R probably hurt it as well. 'Cause I'll agree with you that only real comic movies who did well with the rated R are Deadpool and Logan.
Mm-hmm.
But those are Logan that's Wolverine, and it's
Mm-hmm.
also Hugh Jackman, which everyone loved Hugh Jackman as Logan.
Mm-hmm.
And Deadpool, people love Deadpool, and it was Ryan Reynolds. And
Exactly.
Well,
Ryan,
yeah, no. Can I interject real quick? You're absolutely. I agree with you on that statement. I will say though, what they did, and maybe they should have done with this Suicide Squad, is don't break the bank, because Deadpool was 60 million only, as well as the other movie you just mentioned, Logan. They did it for 70 million only. This Suicide Squad was 200 million. I think if they would have at least tried to control the budget and keep it a raw R, maybe that would have been okay with the numbers that we're seeing now. But when you invest almost $250 million, it's gonna run into a buzzsaw if you alienate your younger audience, is what I'm saying. But I think you did bring up a very good point with the marketing. I agree with you on that.
Can I just add something to that there, real quick? You also had to take in consideration when these budgets were factored in, COVID wasn't even around. You got to factor that in there, because I think if you're looking at it from the optics of if Warner Brother greenlighted this project, knowing COVID, knowing what's going on right there, I think they would have done what you're recommending there. But you got to understand, all these films that we're getting now are films that were already in production prior to this happening. 2019.
I disagree. I disagree.
How could you say?
Well, let me just say that the
no
Ryan
argument
Reynolds
to that.
movie was released several years ago, so that discounts that theory. And
they were trying to
they
screw
budgeted
him.
at 60 million, and then the
They were
second
trying
film.
to screw him, bro. They were trying to screw Reynolds. Nobody.
No, they weren't. He had a
believed
back end
that-
deal. He had a back end deal.
They didn't know that movie was going to do that well, which is why they kept the checkbook.
he
tight.
funded that mostly himself.
Right,
saying?
but
They did not wanna
okay.
make that,
So
but he
I
had
think
to
that's a
fight.
great point.
So that one don't- that
So
doesn't
if you know that you had a shit bag of a film, the first one, Suicide Squad, you maybe just throw another 200 million on the second
Think
one.
about it, though. Think about what you said. They don't listen to.
Well, no,
it's like our panel.
I'm
It's like our
agreeing
panel.
with you.
I agree with Tank. I don't care about the numbers. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. But they're looking at exactly what you said. $800 million on the first one. To them, they're trying to build the franchise. Look at the base on the second one. We brought in all new characters. We're going to keep trying to build this
A
up.
hot
and build the
director,
momentum.
and didn't work.
So we opened up a hot director, and we opened up the checkbook prior to COVID, like Danny said. And so what happened is they put out a product that was pretty good, but they didn't go and market it enough. And like you said, maybe move that R rating and look at some things to stop the momentum. I mean, the idea of how bad the first one was, because they're not listening to the people. And
Also-
Warner Brothers is notorious for that.
Keep this in mind too. Maybe they saw the cut of the movie and wanted it to be PG-13, but maybe the contract agreement they made with James Gunn states no, absolutely not. I have control. I have freedom and control of this over here.
Go to.
I
Yep.
want it to be R-rated, and that's it. And their hands are tied because they're contractually obligated to that
Yep.
when they signed on a hot
And
director.
they wanted him bad, so I wouldn't be
Mhm.
surprised if they did give him everything he wanted. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
he
possible.
practically had creative control of everything. So I just feel like it's not a fair assumption or, decision for us to say based off of that movie, because there was so many other variables that caused a problem with that movie as far as with its success. And like you said, dealing with COVID has really wrecked the box office for a ton of places. But I will say this, and I'm backing out. I understand exactly your points of where you're coming from and part of this as well, Clark. So I think we all made some good points on it.
And I just want to close off my side as well, saying I'm not giving you any kind of nonsense here on this side, Clark. But I do agree with Tank here to an extent of when it comes to fans caring about the numbers that, companies like Warner Brothers and Sony's of the world, and all, we don't care about that. The only reason why we care about their money is so they can keep giving us more of what we want.
Yep.
But the problem with that, Danny, is that if the films that you guys are love, and believe me, I've loved movies that have not done well at the box office. If they continue to not market them properly, budget them properly, we're not going to get those films anymore. They're just not going to
I
take the
understand.
risk. That's just
we get
my
it.
that's
We
my
get it.
point on
We're
there.
just saying
but
from a fan's perspective, we don't care about the numbers because we don't. Get any
I know
money.
you guys don't care about it, but I'm just saying the people that are giving you the product, they care because
No,
that's
we
their
understand.
bottom line.
That's my point, though. They care about it because they want to be financially, successful in that regard. We care about their success because we want them to continue to give us the products that we want to watch.
Right,
That's
but they
all I'm
won't
saying.
give you those products if they don't do
We know we
well by
understand
those
that.
products.
We're just simply saying from the context of what a fan cares about the money and from what the production company cares about. We care about it for two different things.
I
We
care
want them
about
to be happy.
the movie doing well, both critically and financially, so that we can see more of the same.
That's
kind of.
literally what I've been yelling for the last 30 seconds.
Well, listen, I'm just giving you my opinion. You're giving me your
No,
opinion.
you're giving me my opinion.
Yeah, but
you've
here,
been fighting with me, and then you
it's not that I'm
copy my
fighting you guys.
opinion there.
It's just
And
listen.
now it's your
You guys
opinion now.
both have a great, perspective on it. I agree with a lot of the points that you guys bring up, but
It's
you
working.
guys,
This thing works.
you guys discount things when I speak about monetary stuff because in your eyes, it doesn't matter if it's successful or not. Or at least that's the perception that I'm getting.
We understand why you feel it's important. We're not debating that at all.
And Spike, I don't mean you.
We're simply the. I'm the one talking.
I'm sorry.
So clearly, all right, this guy, ladies and gentlemen, House of Family fans.
This will be on TikTok.
All we're saying is we understand why it's important
Never a dull moment.
to the company. We're just saying that since we don't get a dime of that, we're actually the ones funding it. We want our money to be shown and shown that, hey, listen, we like this, we appreciate, we want this to continue. And when that doesn't happen, yeah, it's disappointing for the fans. It's disappointing for the company as well too. But at the end of the day, we have this same goal in mind as fans as well. We want it to be successful, so we continue watching the product. If we don't like the product, we don't want you to carry it on, and we'll speak with our dollars here. But I think this one right here is just a small example of movies that can, just like you said, maybe down the road when more people have a chance to watch it, it may pick up steam, and it might be a beloved film, and we're going to kind of wish we weren't so hard on it back then, because now we're not going to get it now.
I got a question for you, Danny, and it's just a yes or no, actually for the entire panel. Do you think they're going to make another Suicide Squad?
No, I don't.
How about
really
you,
don't.
Spike? You don't think so? What about you, Tank?
I think they will, because one thing I wanted to, I just was thinking about is that I don't think James Gunn cared about how much money it made. He just wanted to make the best Suicide Squad movie he wanted, and WB gave him the full reins to do it. I mean, I guess we'll have to see like how much streaming it does, but I think they'll give him. I think they'll do another one because I feel like a lot more people like it than you believe.
I think a lot of people like it, but I don't think
because honestly, outside of you, I've not heard, and some random trolls on the comments. I haven't heard anyone.
So I'm a troll now that lives under the bridge. You fuck.
No, I said, internet trolls are different than those type of trolls. I'm taking it personally.
You're our troll.
Listen. I'm gonna just say one thing.
You're the only person who I've heard who's given it such a bad review.
Well, not many have seen it, so I guess the you're alone in the masses. So not many have seen it. I'm sorry. Hey, the numbers don't lie, bro.
What percentage of streaming has it?
No, I'm talking about the streaming. Do you know? Okay, you want to talk numbers, gents? Mortal Kombat destroyed in the streaming numbers this film, Suicide Squad, and Mortal Kombat.
Not a good.
I think that's a great. No. I'm talking about streaming. I'm just talking about streaming in house.
Not a good. No.
What do you mean? It came out literally a few months ago, 3 months ago.
And he touched on it before. When you're talking about movies that have had a bond, Mortal Kombat has had people who have been fans for decades.
Hated the second one.
20 years plus.
We all argued about it online. We talked about it.
Yes, but you got to remember. You have to remember the way they marketed and showed the clips for that movie made it look like it was going to be the best one ever.
It turned out to be trash. Yeah,
exactly. But it was the way they marketed it, and they already had a solid fan base. And to Danny's point and Tank's point, because the first movie was so bad of Suicide Squad, even though the second one was really good, a lot of people refused to go see it. I'll wait and see what other people have to say because they were burned the first time. You know, the first one was supposed to be really good, and like you said, to your point, you had one of the biggest box office draws of the last 25 years in Will Smith.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody, I personally, before I saw anything else, as soon as I saw Will Smith, I was like, I'm going to see it.
Mhm.
Then looked at everything else, and when it wasn't as good,
Right.
for the second one, I'm one of the people here. I watched that movie because we talked about it and reviewed it so much
Right.
leading up to it. I would have waited because I was hurt because of the first one. And a ton of people feel that way. So comparing the numbers to the others is skewered. The data is not good. It's corrupted because the movies that you're comparing it to have a better history with the fans than what Suicide Squad had.
So
It was
what
not a
you're
bad-
saying is that not enough people are giving it a chance to actually watch it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And I agree with Danny. I think that once it's released to HBO Max, if it hasn't been already by now, and it gets a chance for people to really settle in, especially now that we're slowing back down and people actually just stumble into it and give it a chance to watch, and through the holidays, you can see a lot more people watching that movie. It was a good movie, much better than the first.
Mm-hmm.
I respectfully disagree with that assessment. I did not think it was a good movie, but you all have the right to your opinion. We all are here for that reason, to talk about movies, to talk about fandom, and that's why we do this, right? We didn't do it to just agree with everything, but great points, I think. Tank, any closing thoughts, or do you have anything else in the fandom bag?
Yeah, I've got one more item in the fandom bag, and actually, it's since we were talking about Suicide Squad,
I'm actually excited about this news here.
The DC Fandom streaming event is actually going to stream on August 16th. And actually have a list of, not everything, because there was some things that were either just CW shows that are already out, so it doesn't make any sense. I know you don't. I know you guys don't like CW, so I left it out for y'all.
I hate this.
Bless your heart.
And then there was other shows that were like just too kiddie. I was like, we don't talk about that. It's a little bit long list, so so we have these are all things that are going to either have trailers or just be discussed. We have Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
I'm looking forward to that.
The Batman, second trailer for the
totally
Batman.
Looking forward to that.
It's the animated show Batman Cape Crusader. I know you're not excited about that. Black Adam.
I'm excited about that.
The animated Catwoman movie called Hunted. The Super Pets movie with the Rock as Crypto.
I heard about that.
Oh yeah, I like The Rock.
The Flash movie.
That is obviously something that's going to be a big one there too, along the lines.
The Gotham Knights video game, which I'm excited for.
Right.
Very cool.
Harley Quinn season 3. Injustice animated.
I'm excited about that one. Let's not skim over that. Harley Quinn, baby.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I love that show.
Yes.
Love that show.
Same here. Injustice animated movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Always
Peacemaker series.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Shazam: Fury of the Gods, which I think actually they wrapped filming on that.
They did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Suicide Squad game. Hopefully they have like actual.
I'm curious about that one. You know who the villain is in that one, right?
They've piqued my interest.
Superman.
You hear about this, Clark? This video game, Suicide Squad?
No.
So this is gonna be my total like revenge on you.
Wait. Is this the fighting of Superman's the bad guy or something?
Yeah.
I heard about that actually.
Superman is all
that looks pretty good. I would like to be
Superman around with King
Superman
Shark.
and rip heads. Can we do Superman hunting you guys down? Is that cool? Me and Tank can trade it up.
No, you play as the Suicide Squad.
You're making Tank hate Superman. To be honest.
I'm interested to see how they're gonna pull that off. To be honest with you, I mean,
Spike be calling me every once in a while and telling me that, hey, listen, like, I think he's talking about maybe switching to Batman. What do you think?
He won't do that. He won't do that. He won't do that. Then he's not really a fan. I know he is.
I'll tell you guys, is over his heart, there's a Batman tattoo that looks just like the one behind me. That's the thing you don't want you guys to know. It's okay, bro. I got you. I got you.
A complete lie.
Maybe you
love the orphan, and
what
you
are
know
we
it.
getting with you guys? I was like, well, gotta be cool. Gotta be a billionaire.
What else you got on that list, man? Who else on
The final is Young Justice Phantoms.
Okay.
So definitely excited for a lot of these. I'll probably say the thing I'm excited for the most is definitely the Injustice animated movie.
Yep.
That's how much I love the game and I love the comics that tie to it. So
Mhm.
just seeing that brought into motion, definitely I'm excited to see that.
Is that aimed at
Uh,
adults, Tank?
Absolutely.
oh yeah, definitely because Superman puts his arm through Joker, so definitely gonna be
Oh, wow. Okay.
definitely
Yeah.
gonna be aimed at adults.
That's not
If
good.
I'm not mistaken, Tank, remind me, Danny, you probably know this too.
So,
Didn't the Injustice video games have a mature rating?
yes, it did.
I think they had the mature rating. So
It was
I'm
it was
correct
either
on
teen
that.
or mature. I think it was teen though. Maybe it
Yeah,
might be
yeah,
teen.
it's team because they it didn't have like any like while they had like finishers, they
Mhm.
didn't have they weren't like any
It
more
was super brutal. Gotcha.
Yeah.
they weren't like Mortal Kombat fatalities or anything. Only like I said, the only thing that would have made it, I think that's why it was 10 because the only thing that was really gruesome was like some of the cut scenes, like one where where he
Mhm.
killed Joker, and then
Yeah,
also
it's a good scene.
he killed. Well, I don't want to spoil it too much, but there's another scene where he kills another person, but I don't want to spoil who it is.
Deserved it.
Yeah. So let me know. I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna go all around, ask you your favorites. Let me know if you need me to go back over the list. Spike, what are you most excited for?
Just like you, man. Injustice, and it was one other one you mentioned. Crap. The video game.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Or Gotham Knights.
Gotham Knights.
Gotham Knights.
The Gotham Knights video game. I love the clips that they had of it. What was it? A few months ago, I think the beginning of summer when I first saw it, and I'm excited about that. Hopefully, it lives up to the hype. But Injustice, I've been waiting years, like you, for them to at least do an animated version because I think they would always screw up live action.
Of course.
And so it's finally coming. I think that a lot of people will be wondering why they waited so long when this finally drops, because that storyline is just amazing.
It's a banger. It's a banger, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Talk about it. So yeah, those two right there are enough for me. They could scrap everything else and I'd still be good.
Yeah.
All the CW stuff can go in the toilet, by the way.
Facts. I second that.
And just for anyone who does it, the fans who don't know, the Gotham Knights video game, it's not set in the Arkham video game the world, I think, but it's from what I saw, it's gonna play similar. It's it's Batgirl, Red Hood, Nightwing, and I believe it's Tim Drake's Robin. That you all get to play through as, and it starts off with Batman being dead, and I know like the main villain is like the Court of Owls.
Yeah.
So
It's an awesome book, by the way. If you ever read that comic series or the novels, Court of Owls are amazing.
That's the great thing about Batman. You can just pull any villain out because he's got all the best ones.